talk to me.
Information, news, and entertainment on demand.
WSRadio.com.
Chef Confidential is sponsored by Mosseri Produce, one of the best family-owned food distribution companies, proudly serving San Diego since 1946. Learn more about their seasonal, local, organic, and sustainable foods by visiting mosseriproduce.com. Welcome to Chef Confidential, where we get under the hood and into the kitchen to learn the art, science, and passion of cooking from great chefs.
Welcome to Chef Confidential, and yes, we're going to get under the hood today with one of the great local chefs, Nino Zizzo, who happens to be a great friend of mine. I've known Nino for, well over 20 years, right?
It's a long time, Dave. Very long time, yes.
Well, we're so happy to have you, Nino. As I said before, you're one of the greatest Sicilian chefs that I've had the pleasure of ever eating with and knowing.
Thank you. It's a compliment. Coming from you, it is.
He's allowed to say those things. Nino, why don't you tell the audience? Let's get under the hood with you, so to speak, on just who you are. Who's Nino, and while you're doing that, let's talk about how you began your cooking journey.
Oh, God, I probably started when I was about, I'd say a good 10, 11 years old, just hanging out with my uncle, going to the restaurant with him, watching him cook, and then always at home. My mom's always cooking every day.
Yeah, well,
my mom, my grandma, you know how that goes.
Let's give Mom kudos, by the way.
Of
She's
course,
a phenomenal cook.
Of course. My mom and my grandma.
And the pastries that she makes,
she does,
forget
yes.
about it.
Yes,
it's unbelievable.
Really good. But yeah, started at the age of about 10, 11, and went from there. And just with my uncle, always hanging out with him, and he was always in the kitchen, and he'd say, "Get this, give me this."
Your Uncle Joe.
Joe, yes.
Yeah,
of
Joe
course, yeah.
Busalacchi.
Yes. Yeah, so, and then from there, just kept going on, and I got interested in it. I just really got interested in it.
And you grew up in San Diego.
Born and raised.
And your family is Sicilian.
100%.
And they obviously migrated here from Sicily.
Yes.
Your mother.
Mom, dad, grandma, grandpa, all my uncles, all my aunts, everybody. Mm-hmm. Everybody. They all came over.
And when you go back to that 10, 11 years old as a kid, and you're in that kitchen either with your mother or your uncle, when you get back to that, take us back there. What are you smelling? What are you hearing?
What's
the dish that comes to mind, that go-to dish when you're there?
It's kind of funny you say that. I'm at the restaurant and I'm cooking something, and my cousins go, "Wow, this smells like Grandma's house." And when I know that it smells like that, I know that it's good. I don't even need to taste it. I already know that it's gonna taste good. I have that smell just comes back to you. Mm-hmm. It's something that only I can smell it. So I know that dish is gonna be phenomenal.
So you've had the experience of owning your own restaurants.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I have. Yes,
managing them,
owning them, yes,
and creating these menus.
Yes, don't do it. Go to school, be a doctor. Don't do it.
And tell us a little bit again about Nino and how you came to that point where you actually had the ability and the know-how to get in there, open your restaurant. Then you had to have a following because you were cooking with your Uncle Joe for a long time.
I said, I gotta thank him because how I got into it was with him. So I was working with him, and I was probably about 18, 19, and I told him, I said, I don't want to work with you anymore. I said, I want to open a restaurant with you. And he had a very successful restaurant. Busalacchi's on Fifth Avenue, doing really, really, really well. And
And you had been working in that restaurant for how long?
Since it opened. Since it opened, 1986.
So you were 13, 15 years old?
15, yeah.
Okay.
I'd like to be younger, but no, I was not. I was 15.
Okay, so you're 15 working in there.
So then, when I was about 18, 19, I told him that, and I actually still stayed in the food industry. I was actually a representative for Roma Foods.
Mm-hmm. Okay, one of the local local distributors.
Yes,
very big distributor throughout the United States.
Very big. Had fun doing it. I learned a lot about the food. Learned a lot.
Which is the other.
It's the other side of it. Yeah,
it's
the
very
other
important,
side.
though.
Knowing which products to use,
Purchase
how you get your better
orders.
yields, how you're going to get a better product, what to look for. That all comes with experience. It's nothing that you can just go in and learn.
Right.
So after that, about a year into it, he calls me up and he goes, "Okay, you want to open a restaurant? I found one." And this is when Little Italy. There was no Little Italy. Mm-hmm. There was just a few stores. There was Filippi's and Saluntos and Mona Lisa. And that's it. There was nothing else.
Yeah. So
I looked around and I go, you like this spot? You want to open here? And he goes, yeah. He goes, I think it's good. I said, all right. So we started building this place. We built it ourselves from the ground up, which is now called Ninos. Mm-hmm. And it was that's where I learned a lot. Mm-hmm. That is where I learned a lot.
And what did you learn? And then take us back
into the building of the restaurant, putting it together, trying to get the best deals for somebody to come in and do this and do that, and
Well, so you have a lot of insight on the building, and
on the construction of it, everything of it. Yes.
So if somebody was, and I know somebody out there who's in our audience listening is wanting and figuring out, hey, I'm listening to Chef Confidential, and probably knows Nino, knows the Busalacchi name. So kind of take us through that building process.
Well,
and then take us into the kitchens and the designs and stuff, because cooking is very artistic. So
of course it is.
And as people walk in, they're visual animals, as you know.
Yes.
So the atmosphere that you want to set is going to be different from a Mexican restaurant or a French restaurant or a traditional Italian restaurant.
Yes, it just depends what you're doing.
Right. So kind of walk the audience through how you came to the different, the paints, the styles, the photos, and then the development of the menu, which is most important. But with that, you're hiring a whole new crew that you have to oversee and then get everybody to play.
That's the hard part nowadays. Hiring the crew is the hard part.
But like an orchestra, right?
It is, yes.
And a conductor of a symphony. You have to get everybody to play together.
It is really
and
difficult.
Understand the sheet of music, which is your menu. So walk us through that.
So basically, before we did Barbusa, everything was pretty mainstream. We had a Italian steakhouse, so it was pretty mainstream. So when we did Barbusa, it was something where we tried to dig deeper. We tried to really get into the roots and dig deeper. But we also had to keep that modern
flair
in there.
Uh-huh.
So that was not challenging, just being creative. That's where the creativeness comes in, and you start, putting things together and go in there and just really dig into your roots and find out. I had to do a little bit of searching and find out what foods in Sicily were really, because it was a very poor place.
But that's the best food there is.
Yes, it is.
So you're going back and you're modernizing the building and the inside visually.
Mm-hmm.
You're getting your art, your colors, you're laying it out, kind of modernizing it so it's a little hip to attract the millennials, if you will.
Yes.
But you're also keeping that old traditional food. So that's a tough combination to carry because a lot of people aren't familiar with our old traditional foods. I'm Sicilian as well, as you know. Well, it's all about the peasant food that people haven't experienced with the different flavors and the garlics and the meats, and we'll probably touch into that on the next segment. But creating that and going back to your heritage, but adding that flair to it to make that attractive to your audience.
That was one of those things where we literally, with my uncle, went back and forth, and he goes, I don't know if this is gonna work. He's real old school. You know the way
Yes,
you know the way
of course.
he is.
Yeah, I know.
So, luckily, his kids are involved, which are my cousins. So that kind of helped push things along because they go, Dad, no, I think this is good. I think it's not good, and my uncle really wants to make sure the food is top notch. He's a nightmare to deal with. If he doesn't like something, he'll voice it. He'll let you know. So you know very well.
Yeah, of course.
So that was a little bit of a battle. But when he when he saw that other people took to it, that tried it, because I made it. We had to kind of say,
I was there.
I was one of the testers. You came by.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you remember you were one of the testers. Yeah. So
okay, we're gonna dive back into this in a little bit. You're listening to the Chef Confidential Hour with Nino Zizzo. We'll be back shortly, and thank you very much for listening.
In the military, things can change in an instant. At Navy Mutual Aid Association, we understand because it's our life too. That's why our dedication to serving the life insurance needs of our military veterans and their families is unrivaled. Navy Mutual offers superior life insurance protection without military service restrictions and limitations. A single focus on providing the peace of mind military families are looking for. That's what we do. Navy Mutual, insuring those who serve. Call 800-628-6011 or go to NavyMutual.org.
Tired of presentations with no impact, no inspiration, and no traction? Do dull speakers have you and your team disengaged and distracted by smartphones? Christopher McCullough brings energy, insights, and 2 decades of experience, delivered with punch, humor, and heart. Your team will leave energized, uplifted, and with a sense of purpose. Visit ChristopherMcCullough.com to bring some heat to your next speaking engagement. McCulloughe. ChristopherMcCullough.com.
One person has the power to change the world, impact millions of lives, and leave a legacy for lifetimes to come. That person is you. In the New York Times bestseller, What is Your What? Steve Olsher, award-winning author and founder of the Reinvention Workshop, reveals his proven process that has helped thousands of men and women discover, share, and monetize the one thing they were born to do. Grab your free copy now at www.whatisyourwhat.com/free. That's www.whatisyourwhat.com/free.
Take a break from politics. Tune in and learn something. WS Radio shows are worth your time and are filled with tips and advice. Add us to your lunch routine, and we'll give you a meal for your mind.
Hi, this is Rob Barnett, VinVillage.com, where wine lovers connect. Be sure to tune in weekly to VIN Village Radio for exclusive, in-depth interviews with the who's who in wine and food.
Take a break from politics. Tune in and learn something. WS Radio shows are worth your time and are filled with tips and advice. Add us to your lunch routine, and we'll give you a meal for your mind.
I've been bragging about Progressive Medical Center to you guys for years, and I'm so excited to have Dr. Agoli with us because, Dr. Agoli, a lot of people walk through your doors, and some of their biggest problems are they're just fatigued, they're tired all the time, and even though they're dieting and exercising, they cannot get the weight off. Why is that?
It's a combination of poor metabolism, inappropriate eating, but more importantly, it's due to a lack of education and really doing the right testing. A lot of our patients are metabolically compromised. What does that mean? Their metabolism is not functioning. The metabolism is responsible for all physical and chemical